All right, welcome into another edition of COVID Conversations. I am David Kelly. We are talking high school football today. Pleased to be joined by the Pueblo Warriors, new head coach Jake Allen and senior linebacker Diego Pro, and TUSD making an announcement on Friday that football is now a go. And first of all, Diego, I want to start with you. It kind of explain what these last few months have been like for players, not knowing if you're going to play, then getting to start training, then still not knowing if you're going to get to play, and then finding out finding out yesterday that it's a go.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster. Everyone's been showing up for practice for the past few months, and not knowing if we were going to play was a little bit of a mental strain on some of the players, but we just kept showing up to practice every day, kept pushing through, and then once we got the green light yesterday, it just felt real awesome.
Jake, how have you tried to keep these kids in the right mindset to kind of, obviously deal with the situation with COVID, and I'm obviously dealing with having to go through school? I imagine many of them are online, and are all your players remote at this point, or any of your, because I don't think you guys have even returned yet to in-person, correct?
Correct. So all of our players at this point are online, as well as all of the students at Pueblo. I believe they'll be deciding at the next board meeting on how far that's going to be extended. So right now we've been completely online, but we have been practicing, like Diego said, for the last few months after school, and following the TUSD, mitigation policies as we're practicing as well. So yeah, it's been good. At least we get to hang out and be together as a team and practice every day. So, we've been handling it one day at a time. And I know that's kind of cliche, but at this point, I'm taking my job hour to hour, and things are changing constantly. And I just keep telling the boys we have to be adaptable, and we have to be able to take things in stride. And one day it might be euphoric, we get good news, and the next day we might have a setback. And at the end of the day, if we're handling things as a family and we're doing everything we can do to control our day-to-day functioning as a program, that's all we can do. And as long as we're enjoying being together as a family, and I think the kids, since they're online all day, they're really relishing, that time that we have as a team every afternoon together. So overall, even when it's been good news, bad news, all over the place, a roller coaster, like Diego said, I think that we're all just enjoying being together in the afternoon.
So when you look through, Jake, the guidelines of what came out yesterday, is there anything that you look at and say, man, this is going to be tough?
So, gosh, to be honest, my first glance was no, because we'll do anything to play football right now. So, I keep telling the boys on my end and our administration's end and on the district's end, we're willing to go over whatever obstacles or hurdles or whatever procedures we need to follow to play football, especially for these seniors right now. We're more than willing and happy to do. I think it will be interesting. I don't know for sure what the policies are about spectators. Obviously, that's a big part of that high school experience, on if there are spectators there, family, friends, their peers at the school. The transportation, we still have to figure out some of those things, whether we can use a locker room or not, the mask wearing on the sideline. Those are all things we're going to have to figure out, as we're working up to that first Friday. But overall, we've been told we can play 11-on-11 football for 4 quarters under the same rules we've always played football. So overall, that's what I'm trying to focus on for our program, that it's a huge victory, and any other things we have to follow in order to play, we're not worried about. We're just excited to get on the field.
Diego, as a senior, how are you trying to keep your guys accountable to, following the processes, living by the protocols, and not putting, themselves and this team in a position where positive tests could become a problem in the future?
As a senior, I do my best job to make sure that, like you guys are saying, everyone stays 6 feet apart. And if we're not 6 feet apart, to at least wear our masks. And I think everyone knows that if we don't wear a mask now, it'll become a very big liability towards later on in our season. And if we don't wear a mask now and we somehow do get COVID, it'll just make everything fall apart. and it just will be disastrous.
Jake, what has the testing been like for your team to this point? Was it kind of like, I mean, it seems like the other schools I've talked to, it was kind of like a physical situation where a kid takes a physical at the beginning of the year. A lot of kids took their initial test at the beginning of the year and then haven't been tested after that until necessary. What has it been like to this point, and what do you envision the testing part of it being going forward?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think right now, and what we've been following the last few months, our players, they every day they complete a screening where they answer symptom questions based on COVID. If they have a single question where they answer yes to a symptom, we go through protocols where they are quarantined from the team. We talk to their physician, their family. We try to get testing in place as soon as possible. So every player gets a temperature check from our athletic trainer before they step onto our facilities. That's a daily thing for us. So right now, we have hand sanitizer stations on the field. Every corner you turn on campus, our players do have masks on them at all times. We are 6 feet apart whenever we are not, physically running through a drill. And even in a lot of our walkthroughs, our players are wearing masks underneath their helmets. So we're really focused right now on mitigation. And if a player has a single symptom or anything that would be flagged, as something COVID related or possibly COVID related, we would quarantine them and then get them testing as soon as possible. We are not doing weekly testing or things of that nature for anyone who's healthy and not showing any symptoms.
So now, will you guys go right into full pads on Monday, or what will that process be over the next 7 days?
So to my knowledge at the moment, we will start in helmets and shoulder pads on Monday. And the normal protocol to work up to full pads is 3 practices with helmet and shoulder pads. And then we'll be in full pads after that 3rd day. And we'll be, I think we're still trying to determine when that first game is going to be. It's either going to be 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. There's a lot up in the air as far as scheduling. But I know our players and our coaching staff, as soon as we're in pads, we've been working really hard on the conditioning and the strength pieces out on the field and practice every day. We've been practicing Monday through Saturday. I think our boys are going to be physically in shape. So once we get that week or two of being in pads, we're going to be ready to play football.
I think I saw a tweet, Diego, that he had you guys out there early this morning. What have those early morning practices been like, and what are you liking about this new coach?
I like that he's got a goal, and that goal is to win. That's what I really like about this coach. He makes sure everyone gets their job done. He makes sure everyone has a position. He makes sure everyone has got one goal in mind, and that's the same goal as him. That's to win.
And are you have any concerns at all about going out there? I mean, have you had any hesitation at all, Diego?
I have not had one hesitation because, like we mentioned earlier, we've been taking the safety precautions with staying 6 feet apart and wearing masks. It's just going in a good direction right now.
So, Jake, you said scheduling is still kind of in flux here. So do you anticipate you'll play, maybe 5 games, 6 games? What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking a minimum of 5 games, a maximum of 6 to 7, and that's best case scenario. I know we will 100% be starting on November 13th at the latest. And I know our district right now and other teams are looking at possibly a week before that on November 6th. I don't know if we'll have enough pads or padded practices before then to be eligible to play. I just know the district, with safety in mind, they want our boys to be able to hit the field as soon as possible. So it'll either be sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will be playing game 1 if things go well.
So what's the number on padded practices before you can play a game?
To my knowledge, as of right now, it is 10. But I would need confirmation on if that has changed due to COVID or if there are any extraneous regulations due to the situation that we're in.
And how has the administration been during this process there, Pueblo?
Oh, they've been fantastic. I mean, with everyone in an administrative role right now, they're facing a situation that no one's ever faced before. And so they have the safety and the well-being of coaches, players, parents, families at mind, but they also understand that these student athletes have put a lot of work in for a lot of years in order to play varsity football, under those Friday night lights. So they understand the social emotional ramifications if players are not able to do that. And they also understand that some of our players, football is a huge motivator for their academics. It is a huge motivator for them to be showing up to school every day and be on time and be attentive in class. It's also something that's going to help some of our players get to college. So there are a lot of variables in play. I can just say our administration has supported us 100%, keeping in mind safety and the well-being of our players emotionally. So I couldn't be happier with the results. I think they made the right decision, and we're gonna take that. We're going to take that very seriously, that they're letting us play, and we're not going to risk anything that we can control as far as safety and as it relates to COVID.
Let me ask you this question. What we're seeing to this point with the programs that have had to pause and go into quarantine is a one positive test situation. Does that have to change? Because in my mind, if you're going to shut programs down because of one positive test, it's going to be almost impossible to get through a season. I mean, we've already seen that South Point Catholic had to shut down for 2 weeks. Does that piece have to change to where, okay, if we have a positive test and we can trace that it's not fluid within the group as a mass, that we can continue to move forward and not have to shut everything down for 2 weeks just off of based off of one positive test?
Right. And David, I think what you're saying, to myself as someone who has no background in science, but from what the research I've done and looking at the data, I agree with you. I think we're walking a tightrope of, we want to prevent an outbreak, but what is an outbreak as far as numbers? Is it one case? Is it 4? It's really, that part seems up in the air. One case is serious to us, and we want to handle that mitigation wise as seriously as possible. But I do think if there is anything we can do as far as contact tracing and testing, anyone that those players have been around, I would love to entertain any possibility where if there is just one single case that we're aware of, if we can try to, through scientific measurement, find out if no one else has been exposed. I do think it would benefit everyone if that player could be quarantined. But at the end of the day, I know Pima County and our districts, they have a lot of people that are a lot smarter than myself that are figuring those things out. So we'll do whatever we can to trace that contact if that case does arise. And, I agree. The one case scenario does make it very, very difficult statistically to move forward with the season just because of the numbers of COVID right now.
Yeah, and Diego, just from your standpoint as a player, to know that you're out there, you're doing all this work, and one test could screw it all up, regardless if it's anybody's fault. How does that resonate with you, knowing that specter is out there, that we could be doing all this work, we could go out, we could play a game, and yet one positive test could shut us all down again?
It will be very difficult to process, just knowing that all your hard work that you've been putting in every day for the past couple months, just little by little, those little pieces, just knowing that the one case could destroy anything that could become, it'll be heartbreaking, but life keeps going. And yeah, one person may mess up, but you just got to keep trucking along and hope for the best.
What's next for you after high school?
As of right now, I'm going to college.
Whereabouts?
To the U of A.
There you go.
Bear down.
Outstanding. Bear down. Hey, guys, I appreciate you taking some time to join me today, and let's get out on the field and get this thing going, and hopefully we can get through 6 games and figure out what happens next year. Jake and Diego, I appreciate you guys taking the time today.
David, it's great seeing you, man. Hopefully we see you out on the field sometime soon, and we appreciate you covering Pueblo football.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right. We got head coach Jake Allen and Diego Pro of the Pueblo Warriors, and I appreciate all of you out there again and joining us for another edition of COVID Conversations.